Are you asking yourself, how do you become a successful farmer, especially on our continent here in Africa? If you're thinking about going into farming, then obviously you're thinking about how do I make sure that I can succeed, because a lot of farmers have failed and some of us are still working on it. Today, as a real farmer on the ground, I want to share some of my experience with you on what I think that is going to take for you to succeed, because farming might not be the most easiest or even quickest way of becoming rich or successful, but then why choose it? And if you have decided to do it, then come along and sit with me, because I'm going to give you my version of what I believe is going to take for you that wants to start a farm in Africa to have success in what you do, so that you don't lose your investment. So come along and let's have this chat here at the farm. I am glad you stayed, and I'm not sure what kind of farming that you're doing. As you guys know, we are into livestock farming. We have the Boer goats, the Kalahari, the Savannah goats here that we import from South Africa, and the truth of the matter is our nest order is almost full. So if you actually want some of these beautiful goats, contact us on the WhatsApp number below and we'll share all the information with you, so that the next shipment that we are bringing from South Africa, you can be a member of it and have these beautiful goats at your farm as well. But today we're talking about, once you have these goats, or as you're thinking about having them, how do you become successful in rearing them, right? And it's not just goat. This will apply to majority of the businesses or work that you want to do, but I'm going to be focusing a lot on livestock farming. I think the number one thing that I want to talk to you with no doubt when it comes to how do you succeed, or what are the things to even consider before you go into it, is the passion, guys. Like, I use veterinary officers as an example, right? A lot of the veterinary officers that you bring into your farm, you can easily tell if these people really have passion for livestock, or they just ended there, to make ends meet. I have had a veterinary officer that have come here and is so scared to the point that he can't even touch the animal and give the injection. I've had other veterinary officers that have come here that you see how they deal with the animals, how they handle the animal. So right away, you know that they are in the right career, right? It goes the same way for us. And the reason why, to me, passion is the number one thing is, just like any business, you're going to have your cloudy days. You're going to have days where you need to bust. You're going to have really bad, shitty day. But in those days, it's that passion that's still going to wake you up the next day. Right? So sometimes, you go through a lot of difficulties in your work, whether it be in livestock, crop, whatever, but you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I investing into this? Why am I spending time here? Because as I said in the beginning, there are so many ways. If it is money, you can make money really quick. But why? What is the love? What does this farm give back to you? What does the crops? What does the animals? What do they give back to you that money cannot buy? What kind of fulfillment do you get? Because that passion comes from fulfillment. If you are passionate about something, right, then you do it with, and what it gives you back for you to feel like you have that passion is mostly not material things, but it's an inner, deeper feeling, right? So make sure that before you go into either livestock or crop, you have the passion to do it. Many people ask me, how come you don't do crops? Yes, I know crops is more sexy. If I was doing crops, probably, let's say, for example, even on YouTube, my followers would have been more than what it is, right? I might have maybe done more than what I'm doing now. But the thing is, from childhood, I've always had rabbits, I've always loved dogs, I've always loved animals. So to me, I knew right away that if I wanted to go into farming, it's not gonna be crops, but rather livestock. So ask yourself, what is it that you wanna do? If you wanna do it as a business, I'm not gonna discourage you and you don't have passion for it, but you need a farm manager, you need people, you need to employ people who have passion for it that will be able to do that. But I think for you to start a farm or start even any business, you need to first of all question yourself, the reason why you're doing it, so that you'll be able to pull through in times of difficulties as well. Hi there, thank you so much for choosing to watch this video, and welcome to the Farming in Africa YouTube channel. We are mostly into livestock, and when we talk about livestock, then one of the biggest challenges in Africa is when it comes to animal feeding, and that is why we have introduced two major seeds to feed our animals, which is the alfalfa seed and the brachiaria grass. Contact us for more details about how to get this grass and how these grass are making our livestock more successful and productive. Enjoy the rest of the video. So the number 2 point that I want to give to you guys today is something that you need to do before you start, which should inform what you start and how you do it, right? And that is the market research. So I don't know which neighborhood that you are, which country that you are, your state, your region, your city, but you need to understand that market of that country, that region, that state, that town, to know what the demand is and what you're supplying. You can go and build, a pig pen in the midst of a Muslim community and expect to have good sales or be successful at it. Not even successful as sales, but even successful as the community embracing what you do, right? So that was just a random example, but you need to do your research to say, okay, I have passion for goats, but what is available here for me? Right? Who is goat? Who is going to buy it for me? What is the market price of that goat? And therefore, what is my expenses on? You need to have that detail. So I always use my community as an example, that in a day, they actually kill about 12 goats, right? And that 12 goats, there's no farmer here that will be able to actually produce a single goat every single day for the community. So to me, as small as that is like my initial target. I'm like, if I can be at the point where I can meet their price and sell 12 goats every single day to my community, that alone is enough, right? Because that market exists before even thinking about extending to other communities and going all the way to Accra and then processing and so on and so forth, right? So you need a baseline of like, what am I serving? Like, what am I providing to feed, right? And how am I measuring my success? Do I want to be able to sell 100 goats? Do I want to be able to, like, what does success mean? You need to define your success criteria, right? And then once you have done that, then you can start working on it and saying, okay, there is the demand for this. This is the market price. This is going to be my initial capital. This is going to be my operations cost. And therefore, at the end of the year, this is going to be my return. And therefore, I'm not saying that, once you have that figure, that is 100% assured. But of course, it might change, it might increase, it might decrease, but you also leave that room for that. But at least you have something that you're working with, right? So do your market research. Watching this video is a great step. Do more, watch other YouTubers, read more about it, visit other farms, as many farms as you can. You will always learn something new from there, right? So do as much as you can, and then you'll be able to convince yourself whether you're making the right decision or not. So let's move on to point number 3. So point number 3, as you're doing your market research, this time is more about, something to help you make the right decision, right? But as you've decided what you want to do now you need to focus on the knowledge about it, right? I always say, as the business owner, you need to understand your thing. Your employees can fail you, your employee might not even know, and you will be the one to teach them. You need to always understand, have a bit of knowledge. You might not be the expert, but you need to be able to have some sort of knowledge that you can bring on the table, right? To help your workers, to help your farm, in case there's nobody to be able to also do it. So seek the knowledge once you've understand what you want to do, which is going to be a huge contributor to not just your farm, but also your workers as well. So constant learning. We do not finish learning. We are always learning. Anytime I hear anything about goats, I'm reading about it. I'm watching about it. It doesn't matter who released the video about goats. I'm watching, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, this is new. This is happening. This is here, right? Because I'm in the goat business and I've invested my money there. So anything that's going on, I need to. But then the more you learn, you're able to separate the good from the bad, right? And you're able to pick out, okay, this is what I'm gonna use, this I'm not gonna use, right? But you have to constantly learn about it so that when you are at your farm, you can contribute. When you don't have workers, you can still do the work yourself and protect your investment, because that's where, you know, you put your money, and therefore you need to have that knowledge. So I would advise you, once you choose what you want to do, if it's based on passion, it's never going to bore you from learning about it, right? So that's why the passion comes first. The market research is just helping you make the right decision in terms of business-wise. The knowledge you need to learn to be able to help you succeed in whatever that you've chosen to do. Let's move on to the fourth point. The fourth point is around time, right? So the amount of time that you have to invest into your business. And you know, this can be looked into different ways. I always say it's either you're a producer, you just love the animal business or the farming business, and therefore you've hired your right people, your manager, your farm workers, your veterinary, and everybody, and you're doing that, and you go and supervise, or you're the man on the ground yourself doing all the work with your team, right? No matter what, it's going to require some effort or input of time, right? Some might be higher than others, but you also have to manage, you have to be there, right? Being there and seeing it. Again, you're the visionary, right? The experts must still be there, but there's some decisions that needs to be taken that when you're there, it can go like this. But because you're not there, what happens is that they will have to wait. Oh, I was going to tell you tomorrow, or I was going to tell you. But you understand how critical that is, right? And can take that decision. Once you're there, you also see things that you're like, damn, this thing needs to change today. That your workers might even feel like it's normal, or this is okay, right? So that time will be required of you to invest into it. So you need to really take a step back and say, where am I in life? What is my plan here? Right? How about going every week? What about being there all the time? What about being there every 3 weeks? So again, it's totally up to you, but that time is going to be required of you. So you need to also question yourself if you have it or not. The last point, which is point number 5, and don't worry, I've also put this into a PDF. If you go to our website, www.farminginafrica.com/free resources, you should be able to download a PDF that explains all this in detail. You can share it with your farm managers or your friends, whoever that needs it. This is just to help you guys. It's free of charge that the team and I have put together for you guys. So point number 5 for me is budgeting, right? Money and resources are always going to be constrained, but how do you better plan and prioritize what needs to be done first, right? So I think as you make all these decisions and you know what you want to, what is the cost involved, what is the capital that you need to start with, and budgeting, you know, start way before you even started, which is you budgeting either savings or securing loan or securing investment. All those are budgeting. You need to do those budgeting, a rough estimate of what you need, how you're going to use it before you know that this is the amount that I need to raise personally, or I need to get as a loan, or I need to raise as an investment, right, for it. And then so that budgeting happens even before you go into what you're doing. And then once you start, then again, the budgeting in terms of the capital investment, you're going to still have some projects that you're going to do. I still every month does a project here at the farm. It's crazy. I thought, you know, I'll build my pen, my structure, and I'm done, and I can really focus on operational costs. But no, at least every month I'm spending like 10 to 20,000 on the project, because I see, you know, I travel, I see other farms, I also read, I also watch other videos, and I was like, oh, this is great, we need this at our farm. And then that's a new project that comes with a new cost, right? So the focus is not fully on just your operational cost, which is feed, medication, labor, you know, no. You're also doing other things to improve the farm, to make sure that, you know, the farm is looking good and is upgrading to a certain level. All that requires money and resources, right? So budgeting monthly is key, and then being able to budget for projects. So I always divide mine into 2, which is the operational cost, salary, medications that we need to buy, you know, fuel, logistics and stuff, those are things that are monthly done. And then in the quarter or in the month, what project do we want to do, and we'll budget for that as well. But we always make sure that the operational cost is the first thing we look at. That is given to the team and the farm manager to keep the farm running. And then if we have extra cash, what project do we want to do here to add more value, to help with efficiency and productivity at the farm, and then we'll engage into it, right? So basically, that's what we do here in terms of budgeting. I hope this is helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comment. You know, as I said, the resources are there, farminginafrica.com/free resources. You can go and download and share it with your friends as well. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you around in the next video.